Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Minister, this budget targets the sickest and the poorest in our society. It targets the young, the squeezed middle, the elderly and even the dead. 20,000 families will lose the bereavement grant in 2014 as a result of this budget. And in, of course, the general election of 2011, the Labour Party and Fine Gael sought and got a mandate to burn the bondholders, not to give another cent to the banks, that it would be Labour's way, not Frankfurt's way, and that the vulnerable would be protected. But of course you have broken all those promises long ago, and you have robbed the clothes of Fianna Fáil and the Greens, and you have cynically and deliberately reneged on those commitments and have targeted the most vulnerable in our society. This budget takes from those on low and middle incomes here at home and gives to the very rich at home and abroad. €9 billion will be paid out next year to service the debt on borrowed money, to bail out rich investors on the one hand and to subsidise the lowly taxed rich here at home. But as you say, somebody has to pay. We hear that cry regularly. But the question I want to ask is, why must it always be the poor that has to pay? Why must it always be the low and middle income families that have to pay? And why do the rich and powerful in this society always get away scot-free? Minister Joe Costello told us here not so long ago that Ireland was the 7th wealthiest country in the world. The 7th wealthiest in the world. Minister Noonan told me not so long ago that the top 10,000 earners in this country earn €595,000 each per year, and the top 20,000 earn €437,000 each every year. Why is there no higher rate of income tax for these people who are not paying their fair share of taxation? Why is there no wealth tax? Because we know that the wealthiest 10% of people in this society have increased both their income and their assets during the course of this recession. Why is there no wealth tax to ensure that these people pay their fair share? The only thing this budget does for jobs is that it guarantees that jobs in the public service would be eliminated, and that the money taken out of the pockets of those on low and middle incomes will depress demand and eliminate private jobs in the private sector. The only way to create sustainable jobs is for the state to invest in publicly owned modern industry, but of course the government is ideologically opposed to that. And of course, over-dependence on foreign direct investment has placed our people at the mercy of others. This budget has a raft of broken promises, and I want to briefly refer to the one that was told by the Labour Party at every door during the last general election, when they knocked and said, "We will not touch child benefit." Of course, they reversed that last year and savage cuts on child benefit. From the 1st of January 2014, there will be more child benefit cuts. Fourth and subsequent children will lose €10 per month. Another broken promises. But it's the savage attack on the sick and elderly that I want to specifically refer to this evening. This is the attack and the cuts to medical card holders. There are €666 million of cuts in the health budget. 149 million of those are cuts to medical card holders. This, Minister, this is social vandalism. It is shameful. It's an attack on the ill and the elderly, the most vulnerable in our society. And I believe that the Labour Party should be ashamed of itself, and its founder, James Connolly, is turning in his grave. And so also for our Brendan Corish and Frank Cluskey, because they wouldn't have countenanced such attacks on ill and elderly people. And I want to know, when will this government stop attacking and terrorising sick and elderly people in this country? They've targeted them this year in 2013 with the withdrawal of their medical cards. It's not possible, Minister, to overstate the fact that sick and elderly people in this country are traumatised and in fear on a daily basis of losing their medical cards. This budget is going to make matters absolutely worse. The postman and postwoman who was always a welcome sight for elderly people, is now going to be a source of anxiety? Is he going to bring, or she going to bring, the white letter that says you're under review and your medical card will be withdrawn? Let's be clear what's happening here, Minister, in this budget. Sick and elderly people are being targeted. They're being targeted to pay banks and bondholders and to protect the very wealthy people in this society, in this country. The fact of the matter is that elderly and sick people were always able to get discretionary medical cards, particularly where they needed ongoing medical treatment. Now we have a situation, even this year, before these cuts come into being, we have a situation where even people with such serious illnesses as cancer and motor neuron disease and children with very difficult illnesses do not qualify for or are having their medical cards withdrawn. This, I believe, will have to stop, Minister. This is a serious attack on sick and elderly people, and it's unworthy of this government and it's unworthy of the Labour Party. And I call on all civil society organisations to organise, to force this government to reverse this, what I believe to be a despicable decision and a despicable policy to target sick and elderly people in this country.
Thank you, Deputy.